Hi, everybody. Joah and I are here today to talk to you a little bit about credit cards and the positive and negative aspects of them and some of the things you can and cannot do with a credit card. Just to give you a little information about why this is some important information for you to know, I want to talk a little bit about Gen Z, which is the category that a lot of you are going to fall into. For those of you who don't know, Generation Z is the people who are up to 24 years old right now. 50% of the people in Generation Z right now have zero credit card debt, which is great to know. But 24% of the people in Generation Z have over $5,000 in credit card debt already, which is not a good statistic to know. So what we want to talk about is, what can you do with a credit card? Why are credit cards good? Why can credit cards be a little bit bad? How do you get a credit card? What is a credit score? Why is a credit score important? Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is, what's a credit card? What's a debit card? Are they the same? Are they different? So Joel, why don't you take that away for us?
Yeah, so credit and debit cards are definitely their separate categories. You can think of credit cards as like a running loan. So every time you take out of it, you're going to have to end up paying that amount back at the end of every month. And if you don't, you're going to ultimately pay interest on that. And a debit card is like, you have your balance and you have a set amount of money put into it, and every time you swipe, it's just like automatically deducted from your balance. So credit essentially enables you to purchase stuff without actually having the money to do so. So this is most useful, especially like once you get into like bi-weekly pay stubs. You never know like when you're going to have enough money to pay for things, and credit cards just enable you to buy the stuff you need when you need it and pay it off at like a certain date.
So basically, a debit card is attached to an account that you already have. So like, it might be a checking account or a savings account or something, but it's somewhere where you already are putting money. And so when you use a debit card, you're spending the money that you have already earned and put into that account.
Yep. So a debit card is attached to like a specific bank account that you own. And every time you swipe, it's just automatically deducted from that account.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And a credit card will ultimately be paid off probably through that same account, but you're going to have to make a separate payment for that. Like, it's not automatically deducted. That's your responsibility to make that payment.
What are some
So,
things that somebody should think about before they pick a credit card? Like, there are thousands of credit cards in the world. How do you pick which one you want to use?
yes, all credit cards are not created equally. They're probably the thing you want to look at most is the interest rate. So that is going to determine how much interest is going to be tacked on if you do not meet your full monthly payment every single month for whatever you bought on your credit card. Um, Another thing to look for is like an annual fee. Some credit cards you have to pay $100 a year to get it to use it. And why would anyone ever do that? Probably because of the next point. They have good rewards. Probably the main attraction for credit cards is its rewards. And there's a lot of different things you can get with that. One of the most common is probably cash back. You can get a percentage back of your purchases put back into your bank account, or it can be like a gift card for your favorite store or something. People that travel a lot, you can get air miles to buy plane tickets and
Yep.
stuff.
My
I
husband
know
and I,
Amazon has a store card.
we
What?
have an Amazon credit card. So everything that we spend, we get points back to spend on the Amazon website. So, you got to spend it if you have it, I guess. So,
Yeah. So for you online shoppers, you might want to look at that one there. So a good card that I would recommend if you have never gotten a card before is a student card. And most financial institutions will probably offer a student card. Those are nice because they take into all those previous things into consideration for students. And So it's just like a good card, good first card to get. Um, so another thing to look at is credit score, which is something you will build by having a credit card. And that is essentially a trustworthiness number a bank is going to put on you. And the higher your credit score is, the more trustworthy they think you are with money. And if you have a higher credit score, that will enable you to get better interest rates for like a home loan or something like that, or a car loan.
This is something also that you might see commercials on TV where, like, if you're going to get an apartment, someone might check your credit score to see if they can depend on you to make your payments on time, or, you know, something like that. Credit score comes up if you want to buy a car. They're going to look and see what your credit score is to see if they should give you a loan, type of thing. So a credit score comes up a lot. So what can you tell us about credit scores, Joah?
So yeah. Hopefully, you think the credit score is an important number, because it is. And so, how do you get a higher credit score? So first, we've already talked about this. Always make your payments every single month in full, as much as you can. Um, but if you can't make a monthly payment one month, pay the minimum, and you're still in the clear there. They won't deduct your credit score if you make the minimum payment. You just have to make that payment every single month. And another thing they look at in determining your score is the number of cards you have. So they want to see that you have some flexibility with your card usage as well. And they also look at like the total amount of credit you have available to you. So you might have $500 of credit in one account, but like 1,000 in another. So you have a total of $1,500 of credit. So they look at the sum of the credit available to you. And they also look at how much you take out every month compared to your limit. So it's like, is this person maxing out their credit limit every month? If not, that's kind of scary, like, you know. And the most important thing in building your credit score is consistency. You just got to have that credit for a long period of time, and you got to make your minimum payments every single month for a long period of time. And that's going to be the biggest factor in building your credit score.
And I think something that's really important for people to notice is that one thing that you did not mention is the amount of money you actually have. Your credit score is not based on if you're rich. It's not based on if you're poor. It's not based on how much money you make a year. It's just based on, do you make your payments on time? Do you manage your money well? You know, so someone who makes $1 million a year could have a really low credit score because they don't make their payments on time and they're not trustworthy and they're overextended. Whereas somebody who makes $30,000 a year could have a great credit score because they manage their money better. So it's not dependent on your income. It's dependent on, are you trustworthy with your money?
Yep. So that's definitely one of the benefits of credit cards there. And some of the other benefits would be like obviously the easiness of like shopping online, or like if you're out and about, like traveling, you don't need to carry your wallet everywhere. You can just have this convenient piece of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're running really short on your bank account one month and you can't afford your groceries, you got your credit card there. That's what it's there for. Is like if you really need that purchase, like it's there for you. And obviously the rewards are also a nice perk on top of that as well.
What are some of the downfalls of having credit cards? There's a lot of things that are great about
Yeah.
credit cards, like you said, but there are things that are bad, like obviously building up your debt. You know, if you don't do it correctly, you're going to build up that debt. That's definitely a downfall. What else happens?
Yeah, credit cards are definitely far from perfect. So one of the biggest cons is it's very easy to overspend. And a point David Ramsey likes to point out is that when you use a credit card, you're not physically handing over money. So you lose that sense of like financial loss when you make your purchases. So it's really easy just to like purchase a lot of stuff, you know, and develop some bad habits that way because you don't have that sense of loss.
Right. It's a lot easier
Um,
to hand over a piece of plastic than actually count out $100 and say, here you go.
And another thing that we've talked about already is the interest. Like if you don't make your payments in full, you will get interest charged to your credit card account, and you will end up having to pay for that amount.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have interest built up for multiple months, you will get something called compounded interest. So they're going to start taking interest on your interest. And this is when like credit cards really start snowballing out of control, is if they start getting those compound interest payments from you. Another thing to keep in mind with credit cards is that they're relatively easy to steal. You can, they are really convenient, but part of that convenience is you only need a number to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if anyone gets that number, they can start making payments on it. So if you think that someone stole your card, you should probably freeze that credit account like immediately until you find it or get a replacement. So another like theft protection mechanism you can implement in your life is like getting an RFID blocker. So this is more of a sophisticated way of stealing your credit card number. So like when you swipe your card, it actually reads like some magnetic stuff in the black strip. And so there are thieves out there that just automatically like read that magnetic strip as they're walking by. So you should probably buy an RFID blocking wallet to help prevent theft in that way.
That's a great idea. I never even thought about buying one of those, but now that you say it like that, it's like, yeah, I should probably look into that. So, well, that's great. That's a lot of great information. And I think people think about the fact that credit cards can lead to these problems, but when you actually stop and sit down and think about, I really need to consider the implications of credit cards and the good uses and the bad uses, I think that people will start to second guess some of the things that they do with their credit cards.
Yep. Credit cards are like one of the most deceptively pleasing ideas.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to make hard decisions. I know in our family, we have a debit card and we have a credit card, and there are only certain things we're allowed to put on the credit card. It's like you're not allowed to use it unless it's been okayed, and you know that, because I don't want to get a bill for that. You know, it's like we use the debit card a lot more than the credit card.
Yeah, you
So,
got to be a lot more disciplined for sure.
yeah, definitely. So, well, thank you, Joah. That is all wonderful information, and I really appreciate your help in the research that you did for that. So where can people find out more information about things like this if they're interested?
You can go to the IMC webpage. We have all sorts of information about credit cards. If you're looking to get a credit card yourself, I would encourage you to look at like a student card at your personal financial institution, or UW Credit Union at or the union.
Okay, thank you so much. And once again, if you're interested in this video or any of the other ones that we've been making, you can find those on the SSS Canvas page, or check out It Makes Sense, which is located in the Union, or check out their webpage. Thanks a lot. Bye.